This is VSiN, the sports betting network.
Always follow the money. That's what I always say. You always follow the money. Yeah.
This is Follow the Money with Mitch Moss and Pauly Howard on VSiN.
It's good to have you on board. Thanks for watching on YouTube TV as always. VSiN now available with the multi-view, which is tremendous. Thanks for listening on SiriusXM channel 158, iHeartRadio, TuneIn Radio, or any of our great affiliates. Professional sports bettor, friend of the show on the network, Chris Macero in studio in 15 minutes. He has some huge futures in the NHL, but also he has owned ponies for several years. I don't know if he still does, actually. I know that he had at some point. And he bets the ponies on the daily, so we're going to talk to him about the Kentucky Derby as well. Pauly, your thoughts on, we'll do NBA and NHL here, but the Rockets now forced a Game 6 against Los Angeles. They're going to go back to Houston for that game.
Only home team favored in Game 6.
They're laying, it's between right now, looking at the screen, there are 3.5. That's at FanDuel and DraftKings. Other books are as high as 4.5. The total is about 206.5. Last night's game, again, somehow had no chance of going over.
Got to win that. You only give up 99 points at home in a closeout. You got to win it. And I thought they were going to come back when LeBron cut it to 3, and then Shepard had the big jumper and then the steal and lay-in.
That was a huge turnaround there. Yeah, that was a massive sequence in about 40 seconds or so. Your immediate feeling towards Game 6 would be which side?
Houston wins. It goes 7.
So
Reeves will be better, though. That's the one concern I had. Much like Embiid, all that time off, you're going to be rusty, and then how do your teammates adjust?
That's right.
Have they been playing so well? And Reeves was 4 of 16.
So based on that comment, if the Rockets win the game, I have two things about that. One would be you should probably bet the Rockets to win the series. But the other is, if they force a Game 7 and do this all without Kevin Durant, even if he's healthy to come back, don't just say, we're good. Why don't you take another game off, pal?
Yeah.
I mean, you phrase it a little differently rather than being condescending to your teammate. And
I like the plus 270 to come back and win. I don't know what the Game 7 line would be. I thought that was too much last night, and the Dogs crushed it last night. But plus, minus 180 on the money line looks great, and I think this goes 7, and I think Houston's got an excellent chance to win it now.
Well, I got news for you. My news. This is not breaking news. It's not official, but I'll tell you what's going to happen in the series. And that is Scott Foster, a.k.a. the Extender, will at some point be involved in one of these next 2 games, if we get 2 more. He'll either be on Game 6 and then put the tinfoil hats on while we're going to go to a Game 7. It didn't work the last game that he was on to extend it. Or he'll be on a Game 7, and then I'll tell you, he's there to extend the Lakers season. That's my David Stern 2002 basketball mind thinking out loud.
All right. What are you thinking now with the 5 road favorites? Again, Julian Edlow had this, courtesy of Bet Labs. 13-0 ATS, the road team, in Game 6 of the first round since 2015. And there's 5 of them the next 2 nights, and 3 of them tonight.
I like Boston. But a bet on Boston is also like a bet on... I might as well add guys to go over their 3-point prop and ladder them up.
Yeah.
Because if they're going to win the game and cover, they'll probably cover alt numbers, and that means they're going to hit 22 threes, and a guy like Pritchard's going to have 5, and Hauser's going to have 3, and Tatum's going to have, you know what I'm saying? But they've actually become pretty predictable, right?
Oh, yeah.
With that stink bomb they had the other night, well, that's what they do when they're laying that big of points, especially after a 10-point win. But after a loss in the playoffs since 2021, they have been dynamite. And the numbers are, I had that earlier, what are they, 19-6 straight up, 18-7 ATS, I believe?
Yeah. The other thing I know that hurts your feelings is Kate is not getting much run. And the Sixers are playing drop coverage, so you're seeing a lot more of Vucevic, and he's 7 of 22 from 3. And that's another guy who may be looking at some props tonight, too, in a big win.
Right.
The Sixers and Embiid usually lose after a big win, and they have problems putting back-to-back strong performances together. And we know Boston history as well. Plus, Paul George is on this great run, scoring at least 15 points, what he's done.
Mm-hmm.
So, tell me what happens from 3. 47% in the 3 wins, 27% in the 2 losses. And the Knicks open 1.5 up to 2.5. This seems too easy. Since they've made these adjustments and they're using their physicality and their size. It's something Atlanta doesn't have. They've dominated and owned them the last 2 games. They ran them out of game 1. They blew a 14-point lead in the fourth quarter of game 2. It was 48-27 on the glass in the last game. Also, Cat took it easy in the second half, and they've changed his role. And I think over 3.5 assists. You have to attack that again. He had 10 two games ago and 6 in the last game. He had 3 early in the second quarter. Brunson was phenomenal in the last game as well, and he's averaging 28 and 6 for the series. OG's averaging 17 and 10. Cat's averaging 16 and 14. I just don't think there's much Atlanta can do. And now that also appears McCollum has run out of gas and Johnson hasn't played well.
I would ask if it's possible for the Knicks to play a third game in a row like they have the previous 2. But also, to everything that you just said, maybe they finally realized.
I just think the outlier was, outlier was game 3.
Yeah, and they should have wrapped up the series already.
Yes.
And so maybe they found something here, and they're like, you know what? Why are they taking us to a 6th game here? We're better than them, and we're just going to go there and finish off the series. Boy, the fan base there at the Garden, if there's a game 7, you got to be tight, man.
Well, I think that'd be tough to win, though, too. It'd be a zoo, Good to look at Kylie Jenner. That's fantastic. The other, we got some emails on this.
Do you want to go Cat assist? I'm sorry to cut you off. Cat assist over again?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
How high do you want to ladder?
2.
5, 6?
High as they let you go.
Well, they might let you go to 10, 12, pal.
Because they took them out early, though, too, in the last game. The other thing, we got emails on this, too. Not a good sports town. People are saying fans are selling their tickets. Could be a Knicks home game.
Okay,
a mini Knicks home game.
Are you stronger? Are you stronger on the association or hockey tonight?
Oh, yeah. I don't have much in hockey because these games are so damn tight and they're so good. I mean, number one, home ice has meant nothing. The road team's got a better record. The other story is, I mentioned, I forgot Dallas too, but the power plays have been powerless. Good article, ESPN.com. Power play efficiency is at 18%, lowest rate in the first round since 2015. Ottawa was 1 of 21. Buffalo has scored once with the man advantage going back to April 1st. Avalanche didn't get one until Game 4. Ducks, 50%. Stay out of the box, Edmonton. Stars, 42%. Dallas, 217 minutes in the series without a goal 5-on-5. Oilers, 30%. But if this was anybody else, if the team wasn't from Minnesota, I would like the Wild. This is only the second time they've led a series. The only other time was 2015, and that's the last time they won a series. And I have to keep going back to the Wild, but saying it because I see it over and over and over again. A sports team from Minnesota will lose in the most painful way possible, and here they are up 3-2 with this game at home.
What if I told you they are absolutely, without hesitation, the second best team in the NHL? And that was
it might be the case.
Inarguable. Yeah, it might be the case.
Still, Dallas is good, too.
No, I know they are.
And I got a lot of faith in Ottinger, and the guy, they made the conference finals 3 years in a row. But what's going on with the 5-on-5? And also what happens with the penalties and what happens with the power play. But, again, look at your stat on the Tampa Bay series is nuts. These games are so tight and they're so tough.
Yeah.
And look at the Flyers. One play there, Pittsburgh could have won the series. One play, and sometimes a goalie change can shake things up as well.
The stat on the Montreal series there that you referenced is 98+% of the series so far has been played either tied or within one goal. That's it. Crazy how good that series has been.
Well,
the other one is I'm a little afraid of betting the over, and I have not done it yet.
First period, no.
The first period.
You are afraid?
Why did the juice come down? Why all series long, $1.70 or higher, going over, no problem. Why is the juice now $1.60 in the game?
No.
Because
you got to get. I want to see your hand. Pay to see it.
But did we see it actually in the final 2 periods in Game 5?
No.
When Edmonton maybe realized, and again under Knobloch, look, we can't. There's no way we're going to win this series by getting into shootouts every other night. We cannot.
Who are you? They've jumped on them every game. It's more so of what's happened at the end. Now, they've had a 2-goal lead and 2-0 lead in multiple games. They've scored the first goal in all 5. They've scored 3 goals in every game.
Well, I think it's a legit question I'm asking, though, about why the juice come down by at least 10 cents.
They're going to get there again. And it's happened in every game. And I wouldn't be surprised if Edmonton jumps on them again. Now, I don't know. Game 2 was inexcusable. You can't score 4 goals at home in a playoff game and lose. And that's been a big key to the series, along with Anaheim's power play. Ed Edmonton's got to be clean and stay out of the box.
Yeah.
Now, maybe it was just a one-time deal with the goaltending and the defense, but we've seen it out of these guys before. Not only the comebacks, but how they tighten up and they find their game once they get later in the series.
I got a lot of things on my mind that I would consider inexcusable in the NHL. Number one would be, how on earth did Utah blow that game last night? And as you said during one of the breaks today, how are they trailing in the series?
Yeah.
Right? I mean,
blown 3 games.
100% they have.
Yeah.
And last night, again, to blow it like they did, and there 5 goals overall between the two teams were scored in the first 3 periods in the final 4 minutes. And I think 4 of those goals were scored like in the final 2 or 3 minutes of the period. How did the first period go over?
That was bad.
It's a killer beat
last
night. And you gave up the goal in the final minute that then forced overtime, and then you lost in overtime due to a shorthanded goal.
That was a great breakdown showing that inexcusable, right? It was a great breakdown on TNT showing the line change, and it came back to bite them and what happened. Series should be over. They might lose this thing now.
Yeah.
But goals galore as well. If you're looking for live streaming and replays from nearly any thoroughbred, harness, or greyhound track out there, check out RTN.TV, the racetrack television network. RTN has more HD content than any other streaming service and available on TVs, PCs, tablets, smartphones, Roku, and Amazon Fire TV. Head to RTN.TV, enter code VEASAN. First 5 days free, code VEASAN.
Professional sports bettor Chris Macero on the program next. He's big into betting NHL futures. He has them that are pending. He'll explain why he's going to get more involved next year as well, next year on VEASAN.
So you're listening to this podcast because you want an edge. But what if I told you you're only halfway there? You've got the mindset. Now it's time to get the toolkit to match. Here's the thing. Pro bettors spend thousands on data and tools, but what they don't want you to know is you can get the same edge for a fraction of the cost with VEASAN Pro. With VEASAN Pro, you get access to expert picks, public betting data, prop projections, powerful tools, analytics, and more. Tap the link in the description and see why thousands of bettors are already using VEASAN Pro to cash more bets.
This is Follow the Money on VSiN.
Thanks for checking in today. We're live in Vegas, Circa Resort and Casino. This is going to be a lot of fun. Friend of the show and network professional sports bettor Chris Macero joins us in studio, and he's going to be here for around the next 45 minutes. You're a big, a Derby guy. You're a big horses guy. You've owned them in the past. You bet the ponies on the daily. You're going to go on a Celtics rant here today that we're on the same page with. Let's begin with hockey, though, because you have some monster tickets that are pending. Now, take us through this. Is it to win the East? Is it to win the Cup? What are we talking about here?
So I have, and thanks for having me on. Love coming on. This is the 3rd year we've come on right before the Derby, which is great because there's so much going on right now. It's like one of the best times to come to Vegas. You know, don't come out because we don't want any crowds, but it's a great time to be out here. It's almost like the weekend before the tournament kicks off in March. You know, the conference tournament week's much better, and you guys have been hyping it up a little too much.
All right, sorry.
We want to have a little less people here, but no, this is a great time of year. And so what happened with the hockey futures is a buddy of mine is actually the coach of the San Jose Sharks, and not to get him in trouble for gambling or anything like that. I was rooting for the Sharks all year. I wanted him to, you know, you know what I mean. He's not like give me any edges or anything like that. I'm just saying I've been rooting for the Sharks.
Johnson Billups?
It's a great story. It's like Massachusetts GM, Massachusetts coach. You know, they got Celebrini. They got, Will Smith. You know, they played at BC and BU. So I was rooting for the Sharks. So I had some long shot futures on the Sharks to make the playoffs, to win the Cup, all sorts of things, to win the division. And it wasn't really coming to fruition. They made a kind of a big run. So I had that in my back pocket. And at the same time, my Bruins, being a Boston Bruins fan, weren't expected to do anything this year. So at one point, coincidentally, our buddy Chris that was just on a previous, he goes, "Hey, have you been taking a look at the Bruins to win the East?" And I'm like, you know what? I kind of have. And I think this, I don't know if it's sustainable. Like obviously the odds makers don't think it is. But DraftKings had like a 85 or 100 to 1 on the Bruins to win just the East. So I have like 1,000 or 11 or 1,200. It's whatever it is. It's to make 100,000 on the Bruins for the East. That was looking really good in Game 1 when they had a nice lead, 2-0 with 8 minutes to go. That kind of collapsed. And then we saw what happened on Sunday. They got their doors blown off, but they came back strong the other night to win. So that has a pulse. The other ticket I have, and the Win had it up, which was very weird because the Win is usually very conservative with their futures, but they had the Flyers 500 to 1, and the Flyers are playing Dallas or something that night.
When?
This is, I say the ticket, Mitch. I want to say March 28th or 27th or 28th.
Because Detroit had to collapse.
But Detroit was one of those. Detroit was one. There was a few teams that had to collapse, but based on the way they do the playoffs, they didn't. There was two ways for them to get in. The Flyers could get in with a wild card. They could get in with the division, which they ended up getting in with the division. So a buddy of mine, Jimmy Frazier, who's very acute to weird big bomb prices, we were sitting at the Win, and he goes, look at this price on the Flyers. It's 500 to 1. I go, yeah. Well, they play Dallas tonight, and if they lose this game, it's going to be really tough, and they have some tough games coming up. He goes, I don't care. I'm going up there. He's like, I'm going to go bet $20 on it and make 10 grand. I go, here's here's $30, bet 50. So when they won the game, they didn't move the number. So the next day I went up and I bet 100 on it. 100 to make. That's a ticket I showed you. And then I have another ticket for the additional 70. So I have 100,000 if the Flyers win the cup, which is going to be really tough now because they're playing Carolina, and Carolina's a huge favorite, minus 330. We'll see what happens.
You never know. It's hockey.
I know it is hockey. I have those, and I have one other one which is weird. I bet two $50 bets on Patriots to win the AFC with the Ducks to win the division, and $50 bet Ducks to win the West with the Patriots to win the AFC. So basically it comes out to I have a $15,000 ticket on a $50 bet for the Ducks to win the West. So I have the Ducks, Flyers, and Bruins all at just crazy, different odds. It's just coming in at the right time and finding the number. They're probably all going to lose, but I'm going to, I can finagle. I can maybe do a three-way parlay, Carolina, Edmonton, Buffalo tomorrow, and see if, or even tonight, and see if it makes sense,
So you bet it on March 29th, the one that pays $50,000. That's on the Flyers. But I think this is an interesting takeaway here.
Because Doug Kazarian said he got big tickets on the Buffalo Sabres. They got off to a bad start.
Yeah, they did.
He got 8 to 1 just to win the division.
Yeah, and you sent me, we never expanded on this, but I knew I wanted to bring it up to you next time you're going to be on the show, so I'll bring it up right now. You are pondering like a pivot to pucks more next year because you're like, wait a second here, I spend too much time on the NBA because how many teams can realistically win the title in the NBA? It's like 3 or 4, maybe whatever. It's expanded over the years, but in hockey?
Well, I'll tell you my main reason for this. I had a $50 bet, Patriots to win the AFC, which they did, with the Ducks to win the division. It paid $11,000 for $50. It's totally ridiculous. So I went, granted, it's lucky. The Patriots won. Like, who thought they were going to win? It's just whatever.
They did,
but here's the thing.
Yeah.
So on March 28th, I came out to Vegas. I was at Westgate and here, and I wanted to see what first off, I wanted to see what the cash out was on DraftKings, and they weren't really given that great of a cash out. So I let's see what the odds are for the division. Sometimes they take it off the board. It's the end of the season. Well, for some reason, they had both Westgate and Circa had Ducks minus 2,500 to win the division. They had Edmonton and Vegas at ridiculous odds. Both were plus 1,100 or 1,200. So I bet a little bit on both Edmonton and Vegas. So Vegas fires the coach. I'm not sure if I have the exact time frame correct, but at one point, Edmonton became the favorite, and Vegas was 30 plus 3,100. And I can dig it out of my Circa app and see what it was. It was 3,100. I'm like, I have to put an extra $100 on this, and thank God I did because they ended up winning the division.
They were 31 to 1.
3,100 with less than 3 weeks to go in the season. And it's just unbelievable, the swings in the hockey. Same with Buffalo, same with Montreal to win, the teams to win the division. Tampa was favored to win the division the whole time with huge odds, and you could have taken. Buffalo got the job done, but Montreal, Buffalo, just crazy prices, and the fluctuations are huge. Like home ice is just it's not the same as like home field in the NBA, home court in the NBA. It's anything can happen in the NHL, and I found the swings were just so massive back and forth this past month, where you could have both ways on multiple teams and just have free money waiting to cash.
Yeah, well, that's a great. Okay, so then even next year, the yes/no prices to make or miss the playoffs. Obviously, the division prices as you just ran down, and then if any of these, it's the playoffs we're talking about here in hockey. Like dogs bark all the time. Yeah,
like last night's, like you were mentioning that last night's game, the Utah Vegas Knights game. With 2-1 to go, it was 1-1 with like 10 minutes to go in the third. Someone scored and made it 2-1, and I'm like, I'm going to bet the over in this game, and I took an alternative number of 6.5 plus money. And, I mean, it was over before. Yeah. It could have. It almost went over in the second period. They almost tied it.
Yep.
3-3 = 7, as my buddy Kevin likes to say. So, just the amount of swings and the volatility in the market. That's what's great. And we both had big tickets on Con Knipple, and we were kicking ourselves for not taking the Cooper Flag at the huge money. But it's almost the volatility in the market. If you can get these big swings, it's stupid not to
on
take
multiple teams. Yeah. You told that to me yesterday, and you talk about hedging all the time, but you're like, it's just like you. And we didn't do it with the rookie of the year in the NBA.
We thought it was a done deal.
Well, the straw poll is all you needed to know. We thought anyway.
Yeah. Until half the people changed their vote. But
sure.
But it happened quick. As we said, it happened quick. Like I had a buddy of mine. He texted me. His son's like super into the NBA, and he goes, "Hey, my son just texted me. He's like, Cooper Flag has 50 points." I was just like, pit in my stomach. I'm like, oh, it's not good. Like 2 days after the straw poll comes out, like the first action we see is Cooper Flag going for 50. Very inefficient 50. I've argued with people the whole month about this. I'm like, if you look at efficiency, Con Knipple, way more efficient. I mean, obviously Flag took 1 million shots, but you would figure as a rookie, leading the league in three-pointers made, that should be in a record for three-pointers as a rookie. That should be the rookie of the year. He played on a team that pretty much made the playoffs. Dallas was last place? I don't know.
Yeah,
it is what it is.
You can do this, though. And remember when we started on VSiN with the St. Louis Blues and that guy?
Sure.
400-1, and they lost to the Bruins, and I think it was Game 7. But I don't know how often this happens in hockey, but it seems like it happens a lot, where a team might be DOA in January or even in March, and they can turn this around, sneak in, and anything can happen, especially if you get a hot goalie.
Well, I'll say right before the break here, it's not like in baseball where you can put in, a different pitcher like every other. You have your 5 guys. In hockey, you have a goalie that's been sitting on the sideline that can come in, like what Lyon has been doing against the Bruins. I mean, he lost the other night, but it wasn't his fault. Swayman stood on his head. But I mean, Lions come in has been just sensational. Yeah. It's sensational. It's just that switch sometimes gives the team momentum. I'm surprised Vegas hasn't done it, but we'll see if they do. But.
And by the way, another thing here: always look at the numbers to win a conference, right?
Yeah. So you don't have to go.
You don't have to have the team win the title. The conference is good enough. More with Chris Macero coming up next. We're going to move into the Kentucky Derby. He's owned horses in the past. He bets ponies every single day. We'll get his breakdown of the race next.
This is Follow the Money on VSiN.
This guy fires on the ponies like all day long, every day. Comes to Vegas 28 times a year.
This guy gets it out of the sand trap like no one's business.
He's owned horses in the past. I think you're out of that racket now, aren't you?
Thank God, yes.
Okay, Chris Macero. Thank God, just too much money, right?
Oh, God, the Bills, they never stop.
Okay, so you're at Real Gauge as well on X. And before we get into the Derby, you're fired up about the Oaks Derby double, yeah?
Well, yeah. So the Oaks is tomorrow. It's Friday. It's Oaks Day. There's a full slate of races tomorrow. So just to put a little, extra little bet in, a simple fun bet. Quick little breakdown of the Oaks. There's going to be a lot of speed in this race, and I'm tossing 2 of the favorites.
Is there ever a year when there's not a lot of speed in the race?
Yeah, sometimes. But lately, you know what? A good point. And the Derby this year as well, there's a lot of speed. But in this Oaks race, you have one of the favorites, Explorer, Bob Baffert, Philly. He's getting the real draw. He's in the 1 hole, so he likes to go to the lead. So that's a speed problem for him because it's going to be tough to get to the lead from the 1 hole. Maybe he can pull it off. If he does, he's going to have to exert a lot of energy. You have the 5 horse Meaning, another California horse that wants to go to the lead. You have the 7, a long shot, Dazzling Dame, that's going to go to the lead. And you have the 14, Brooklyn Blonde, another long shot, 30-1, that's going to go to the lead. So you're going to have 4 horses going right out to the lead. It poses a problem for a distance that these fillies don't really want to go. It's a longer distance than they've ever gone before. Most of them don't want to go this far. So we'll see how long they can take them. But what it does is it sets up for some stalkers, which is going to be the 2 Zany, Irad Ortiz. It's going to sit a perfect trip. It needed the race last time out at Keeneland. This horse has done nothing wrong. 3 wins, a second in his last 4 starts. Should be in a great spot. Todd Pletcher trains. Should just sit right behind the speed, make 1 run at the top of the stretch. Probably the most likely winner. It's getting bet the most in the Derby Double at the moment. A couple other horses I like. I like the 10, Prom Queen, Brad Cox trained horse. Castellano rides. In Percy's Bar, the 11. Horse has done nothing wrong. In the money 6 times. Pretty battle-tested horse. We'll see if she's good enough to win. One off-the-pace horse I want to talk about is the 4, Counting Stars. Mark Casse. Mark Casse has 2 horses in this race. So those are the 4 horses I think that can win. Like I said, I'm tossing Explorer and Meaning. I think there's just too much speed. I feel like they'll be backing up in the lane later. So if you wanted to use if you wanted to use 2, 4, 10, and 11 to kick off your Oaks Derby Double, and we'll talk about the Derby now. This year's Derby, like you said, a lot of speed evolved again. And
how many bets are you going to have on it personally?
Oh, I'm going to have a bunch of bets, but I'm going to try to give you an economical ticket that I think has a really good shot to win. I'm not going to throw in. So, for example, in the Oaks, I'm going to bet the Super, and I'm going to try to catch some bombs at the end. I think there's going to be a lot of speed. So horses like the 3, Search Party, comes from way back. The 13, Pashamina, comes from way back. And even Portnoy's horse, the 15, Lovely Gray, that some people say shouldn't even be in the race. She has no chance to win, probably. She's probably not going to win, but she has a chance to pick up horses late and maybe hit the board in the Super. So the horses I talked about, I like those, on top. You can play it so many different ways, but the goal is to try to hit a bomb in one of the 3 or 4 spots where you can get a big price at a Super. For the Derby, we're in the same situation. And what's weird this year is the 2 favorites, Renegade draws the 1 hole, very problematic. He's going to get totally crushed on the rail. He's going to have to drop way back. He's going to be probably last, and he's going to have to probably pass every single horse to win. The horse is awesome. He's probably one of the best horses in the field, but I just don't think he's good enough to overcome the post.
What would it take for you to actually bet the horse on the post in the Derby?
It just never happened.
On the rail, I'm sorry.
I liked Mo Donegal 4 or 5 years ago. He finished 5th. He was coming late, but it's just so much to overcome. The best posts you want are 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. That's just the wheelhouse. It's just such an advantage. So I'm throwing out Renegade on top. I'm throwing out Further Ado. I think Renegade can hit the board, but I just don't think from that post.
Keep going.
It's just a tough.
Further Ado.
It's okay. So I don't think Renegade can win from the 1 hole. He can maybe hit the board. I just don't think he can win. He can maybe get second. I just don't think he can win. I think there's too many good horses in here. This year, there's a lot of good horses. Last year, there was 2 standouts, Journalism Sovereignty, maybe Baeza. They finished 1, 2, 3. This year, there's a lot more horses I think that can win. So, Further Ado. This horse is going to be bracketed by horses that want to go to the front. He's got Pavlovian with Edwin Maldonado. Edwin is a speed jockey, goes right to the front. He's got 17, the Japanese horse that can't be rated, just goes right to the front. So those horses are right next to Further Ado. And then you have Litmus Test, Baffert, and Patente Baffert, who are both going to the front. So you're going to have 4 or 5 horses going out there with Further Ado. And Further Ado looked really great in the Bluegrass. I'm not sure how much he faced there. His 2 best races are in Keeneland. I just think it's going to be a lie. I know 18 has won before with, he won last year with Sovereignty. You got Johnny V on Further Ado, one of the greatest jockeys of all time. He's won 3 derbies, technically won 4. He got DQ'd out of one of them. So it's tough to throw Johnny V off your ticket, but I just think there's too many other horses. And those horses, like I mentioned, Renegade's going to be compromised by the post. Further Ado is going to be compromised by the speed. So the 5 horses I think that can win the Derby And some of them are kind of shockers. I think Commandment, the 6 can win. I think the 7, I gave out Forever Young a couple years ago on this show. I had him at 10-1 fixed odds, Japanese horse. I said I loved his late closing kick. Same situation this year. Dannon Bourbon, the 7, perfect post. He's going to get a lot of speed to chase. He's won 3 straight races. He's run races at 9.5 furlongs and 9 furlongs. He's going to have plenty of stamina. And he ran his last race, his last eighth of a mile was under 12 seconds. This horse is going to be a price. He's 14-1 currently. You can get him at 14-1 fixed odds right now. He was 20-1 originally on the morning line.
You'd still take 14?
Yes. I think he has a big shot. I think he's definitely going to hit the board. I know that's not on everyone's...
It's not.
It's not on everyone's talking point, but I also think So Happy, Mike Smith. This is a California horse that beat both of the Bafferts in the Santa Anita Derby. This is the horse that's probably going to be on the lead, turning for home, and you'd hate to not have this horse on one of your tickets. So Happy, I think, has a big shot. Chief Wallaby, I have at 14-1 fixed odds from earlier, future odds from earlier in the year. Horses adding blinkers, not always a good sign, but I think Chief Wallaby, if he can put it together, he's got Junior Alvarado, the jockey that won last year, Bill Mott, the trainer that won last year. And the last horse I think that can win the race is Emerging Market. You got Flavian Pratt, Chad Brown. This horse is lightly raced, only raced twice so far, but he's sitting on a big one. And he's going to have to get his experience in the Kentucky Derby, but if he puts together his best race, I think he can win. So those are the 5 horses I think that can win. You could conceivably, just take 3 of those 5 that you like, do the Oaks Derby double with the 4 horses I talked about before. So you do an Oaks Derby double, 2 with 4, with 10, with 11, with 3 of the 5 that I like. That's only a $12 bet for $1. The payouts, the cheapest one is, like $1 pays 50, so $12 bet to pay 50. You can check the will pays and what the probables are going to be on these bets if you're savvy enough to figure that out. Now, everyone wants to know about the Super. I'm going to be playing a lot of big tickets because I think there's going to be some prices coming in. And 2 prices I want to talk about real quick before we end this segment are coming from off the pace. Big bombs with a lot of speed. There's 2 horses I think that can get into the Super from way off the pace. And that's Incredibolt, the 11, and Golden Tempo, the 19. I talked to some of the people associated with this Golden Tempo horse. They said the horse is coming into its own, should run a career best race. He's 49-1 on the current market. You're getting Cherie DeVoe, one of the best trainers in the country. You're getting Jose Ortiz, one of the greatest jockeys in the country. That is a huge, ridiculous price for me. I threw $100 on him already at 40-1, just in case he wins. I don't think he's going to win, but I think he has a good chance to hit the board. So economical ticket in a Super, $1 bet. You play the 7, 12, 15. That's Dannon Bourbon, Chief Wallaby, Emerging Market. You play him over the 2 Brad Cox horses, Commandment and Renegade. We'll give you a little Renegade in there for you. Maybe you can get second. Over the 7, 8, 12, 15. We'll throw So Happy in the 4th spot, and then I'll throw the 2 bombs in, 11 and 19 at the back end. That's Incredibolt and Golden Tempo. That's a $36 ticket. You have some favorites on top. You have some mid prices in the middle, and then you have some 2 bombs in the back. If you wanted to flip the order, you can do 7, 12, 15 with 7, 8, 12, 15 with the 2 Brad Cox in the 3rd spot, the 1 and 6 with the 2 bombs. Just to be an economical ticket, I'm going to spend a lot more on the Super.
Okay, but yeah, the audience here wants to know about
just
like an
a simple
ticket.
thing. And in the Oaks Derby double, you do 4 horses by 3. It's a $12 bet. You can maybe get 100-1 on your payout.
Good. That's rapid fire analysis right there from Chris Macero, professional sports bettor. Up next, he nailed the Braves' most wins in the month of April. Find out, I don't know who it is, but he said you guys are going to like this one, who he's betting in the month of May. Next.
This is Follow the Money on VSiN.
We continue with professional bettor Chris Macero. By the way, given multiple nicknames by Matt Humans here at the network, which one do you prefer the most? Is it Casanova, Chris? I like that one quite a bit. Casanova, Chris Macero.
Spittin' Mad?
Well, that one.
Spittin' Mad's good.
Spittin' Mad's fine. I mean,
The Boston Strangler.
I don't like. I mean, the Madman one is like, I don't think it's that. I mean, some of the people that like to utilize the Madman on the network, I see their tweets and their complaints. You know, the bad beats that they're complaining about. I just like to complain about, crazy things like why the Red Sox wear yellow uniforms. I just
I totally agree with you on that.
I don't get it. It's just like, I don't get it.
Okay, so
It's a Jimmy Fun thing, isn't it?
They should wear it. No, it's for the marathon. But just wear it once a year on the marathon. That's it. Don't wear it. Don't wear it 6 times a season or the 8 times.
You guys started Sweet Caroline. It's a disaster.
someone needs to end
That
it.
needs to go away too.
Yeah. So congrats. You had the Braves 24-1 most wins in April.
Yeah. So
Okay.
Chris is a good dude, and we've passed ideas off on each other, and he has that system. So I had just bet the March-April market, and I had the Padres, which almost got there, and that they kind of fell off at the end. And he suggested the Braves, and I always say I like round numbers, so I always make my bet either win like 1,000 or 5,000, 10,000. So this month, I found one that I could make 20,000, and I didn't have to bet a lot, and I just think this is liver than it is. Maybe I'm completely wrong. It's not really high on Chris's system or his model, but I went with the Miami Marlins. I only take teams that have a plus run differential, and they barely make it for this month. But if you look at their schedule, they play 29 games in May, so an extra game over most teams. They have 17 of the 29 games at home, which I'm not sure is a huge home field advantage, but it's still 17 of the 29 at home. And then the 12 road games are only against Toronto, the Mets, the Twins, and Tampa Bay. So not exactly murderer's row. I couldn't believe this number. I got them earlier today at 110-1 at Circa. I think they've since moved the number down a little bit, but I bet it, whatever. It was like $180 to make 180 something to make 20,000. So that's the one I got in so far.
Okay.
I'm looking at maybe the Padres again, but I haven't pulled the trigger on them. And I like the Yankees. The Yankees are an obvious one, but I kind of have a rule where you got to be over like 10-1. But maybe I'll do it as a little bit of a saver.
All right.
The Yankees.
I would tell you to just tell me what get back to me. You have a night to do this. And I've said this on the show today. Take a peek at the Brewers.
Oh, no. I like the Brewers, but they have less games.
That's why you'd have to bet them here.
Correct.
That's the tiebreaker here, the team that plays the fewest games.
So, yeah, you got to definitely be careful.
Hey, the example would have been the Padres this month.
Oh, I know. So that's why I was nervous. So I have the March-April market with the Padres, but the only team that's ahead of me is the Braves. But then I have the Braves for April, but the Padres didn't win any games in April. It was just the biggest conundrum. I was rooting for each team to win but lose. It worked out. I'm very happy, and I thank Chris for alerting me to it. That was a great run. It was a great feeling. And last night hitting the walk-off home run. And I was nice enough for Circa to put the money in my account today before the month's even over so I can bet on other stuff.
I was surprised by that.
Very nice of
good to hit the
Circa,
account.
Jeff Benson and the crew.
That's good.
I'm sure, maybe Mike Palmer's involved. Mike likes those bets. He's into those. Interesting.
We have time for a rant?
Yep.
So we were talking during the break, and this is unfortunate because we're on a sports betting network, and year in, year out, the Celtics have a good team. So they have a key Game 6 tonight, and it's like, what can you say? Because they're going to shoot 53s. And if they go in, they're going to win and cover. And if they don't, they'll probably lose again, just like, and they play with their food. As I said 2 days ago, I hate this team.
Well, I was talking with our buddy Doug Kazarian last night about the NBA, and, no one knows more about matchups and analytics of the game than Doug, and he's on top of it. And we were just like laughing, like, who handicapped that the Cleveland Cavaliers and Toronto Raptors were going to hit 13 threes in the first quarter after only scoring 76 points? It's like no one handicapped that. Like maybe you got lucky and I heard people had some crazy props, but when you look at the the stats and whatnot. It's crazy. The Celtics, whatever they are, in the wins, they're 45%, and the losses, they're 27%. But I just can't stand watching it. Like, they keep shooting the threes on the fourth quarter the other night, and I actually had the Sixers plus the points and a little bit on the money line, so I was happy that the way it worked out. But how do you not change the style of play? Like, Tatum and Brown, Cato, for as much as he's had a great year, he was the only one going in the middle. He was getting dominated by Embiid. But Tatum and Brown refuse to go to the hole when the threes aren't falling. I mean, the other game they shot 50 threes, and they made in the loss, and they only made 13. The Game 3 game was very weird because they shot really well from three early, but they blew the lead late. They're just a team. I'm just not sure how good they are. If they make all the threes, obviously they can beat anyone. They can beat OKC 1 game, 2 games. I don't think they could beat them 4 games. I don't think they could beat the Spurs 4 games. And I go back to 4.5 years ago or 4 years ago when they played the Warriors in the finals. It was the same thing. And at that point, I stopped liking the way I like the Celtics. I used to love the Celtics. I had season tickets for the Celtics. But all they do is shoot threes. They don't do anything different. When they don't go in, they don't change the style of play. They just shoot more threes. And I'm not sure how good they are. And I don't think they would have won that title. I heard you talking about this yesterday, Mitch. They beat Miami without Jimmy Butler. They beat Cleveland without Donovan Mitchell. They beat Indiana without Halliburton. And then they got to play the Dallas Mavericks in the finals. You know, they were like the 5th seed who got like a lucky break, and they upset OKC, and all of a sudden the Celtics, they pulled it off. It's just, and then last year the same thing. They blown those huge leads to the Knicks. They were always huge favorites. And
no killer instinct.
I can't believe the price on them to win the East. I don't think Cleveland can do it, but I'm going to be interested to see what the price is. If it is Celtics-Knicks, I'm going to be on the Knicks. I think the Knicks are a shoo-in to go to the finals as long as everyone stays healthy.
Wow.
They're the best team. They're battle-tested. They got a killer in Brunson. They got enough big guys down low. I really like the Knicks at whatever price they are against the Celtics.
Okay, so like if the Celtics are going to win this game again tonight, they're going to hit probably 18 threes in that range, maybe a couple less than that, or maybe like 22, 23, 24 threes, right?
I think they have to hit more than 18. I think they have to hit 20 threes. If Embiid, you're not going to expect Embiid to have the exact same effort, but if he does, he was a problem. He made so many of those baseline corner, the 10 to 15-foot jumpers. Those were unstoppable. The turnaround baseline jumper over Keita, the big shot. And I thought Edgecombe was a little nervous in that game. If he could just shake off the nerves, Maxey's the man. I would love, and I was joking with Julian, because I know he loves the Celtics, and I'm going to be talking to him tomorrow morning. I would love to see Tatum and Brown squirm in Game 7, because they have that tendency just to squirm a little bit, and I'd be interested to see what happens. I don't know if they're gonna if the Sixers pull it off, are they gonna make the Celtics a 9-10 point favorite again?
Yes, absolutely.
It just doesn't make sense.
No, yeah.
So okay, they're gonna
It's
take
the same thing in Detroit, Orlando.
But it's a health. If Embiid is healthy, Embiid, Maxey, Edgecombe, Paul George,
they got
Grimes,
tons of talent for sure.
I know the Celtics have the big two, but they have a lot of young guys that have never experienced anything like this playoffs before.
Grimes was
they
awesome.
They are a much more talented team last year. This year they have kids shooting more. They shoot more threes this year, which is
all I'm saying. If the Celtics win, they're probably going to cover this game no problem, which means out numbers are going to come in, which means like if you bet a couple of players to hit 4 threes, like if you bet Tatum, Pritchard, Hauser. Throw in another guy like Tatum's plus 158. He's going to take 10, but like Hauser's plus 390, Pritchard's almost 3-1. Jalen, they're going to probably have multiple guys hit at least 4 threes in the game tonight.
The funniest stat of the whole fourth quarter was the only shots they made were Hauser hit 2 threes. They made 1 other basket, and the rest was free throws for the whole fourth quarter.
Yeah,
11 points.
I'll say I agree. It's a tough watch.
Yeah, it's you guys always say squeaky bum time, but I feel like as soon as the threes, they're always going to keep shooting them. So usually they're not going to miss like 6 in a row, but when they do miss 6 in a row, something creeps in and they miss 10 in a row.
Yeah.
And then they just never get out of that rhythm. They never go to the hoop. I don't get it because Brown and Tatum, shoot free throws really well. I don't understand why they're not going to the hole more often. It just drives you nuts.
You're betting the Derby. Don't just pick a pretty name. Get the data that wins. Daily Racing Form's Derby package gives you past performances, expert picks all in one place, so you can save 37%, but only for a limited time. Go to shop.dfr.com or scan the QR code on your screen. DFR, bet smarter, shop.dfr.com.
I want to say one more thing about the Japanese horse, Dan and Bourbon. He was sired by Max Field. Max Field at Churchill Downs was 5 for 5. He won 3 big stakes there. He was only not in the Derby because he went lame as the Derby was run in September that year because of COVID. So just an interesting tidbit for pedigree. His daddy loved Churchill, and we'll see if this Japanese horse can do the same.
Great appearance, man. Thank you.
No problem.
Good luck
Anytime,
tonight
guys.
and this weekend. Chris Macero, there you go. Up next, so many scenarios and bets to make this weekend in soccer. Steve Wiss will break it down next.